Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Erata. Errata, errors. Look at them. There's errors, well, warnings. Right, this is Windows. Yes, I'm on Windows, and what I've done is I've loaded up Visual Studio. I've already got Qt installed, obviously. Under Tools, I've got this off the online by searching for Qt. There you go. And I've installed it. There we are. Then I've gone to the options and I've added Qt5, named it as Qt5, doesn't matter what you name it as really. Put the path in, that's okay. Yep. And then all I did using the tools was open the .pro file. There we go, and this is what I have under ambersl.pro, which is fine. It's fine and dandy. It's good enough for demo purposes. And yeah, all I've changed is in the properties, all configurations, oops, general, general, output directory exec, intermediate directory exec, intermediate. That's all I've changed. Everything else is from the .pro file. I haven't done anything else there. So all configurations times 64, which is my machine, and just make sure it doesn't splatter code everywhere. So this is what it came up with. Yeah, 3 warnings. Int to float on terrain.cpp, which is these 2 lines here, which are int to float. I do know about these because I realised I put float on those, but I didn't know what it was going to finally be. So I automatically, in my own mind, put ints in here. I've always done that, don't know why. It's just a way of spotting it later. But this does need a note on it. We'll get to that in a minute. What else we got on the error list? We have size theta int in object loader. That's our test. That will get deleted. So this will be deleted, doesn't matter. So we can get rid of that one. Leaves us with 2 warnings. I'll put a note in and we'll fix those when we get to API loader. So all I'm going to do is note it as a possible conflict. Well, it isn't possible, it is a conflict. So I'm going to put a note in a minute for correction. But I have to go back to my Linux to do that. That's interesting. This is Visual Studio. I've done everything properly. I even checked. I actually checked under properties for code analysis. And it comes up with this description that the rules focus on common problems, which is all good and fine. But in C++, there's more than just common problems, which is why I'm doing a video about this. I'm going to go over to Qt for a moment. And here's Qt. Interesting. Qt says there's 3 issues. Oh look, they're the same bonds. So let's get rid of that one. Here we go. All I'm going to do here is type in int to float conversion needs correcting. As I don't know which side it needs correcting to at this stage because I don't have the API loader, not much I can do. I suppose I could make these ints to get rid of this, but I want this to remind me. It's a weird predicament to be in. Now, you might think, oh, that's okay. That's perfectly alright. What's the compiler saying? Oh look, there's the compiler. So what I did, I'll just save this out actually to remind me to do it. There we go. So what I did is under yeah, whatever. There we go. It's come up here now. What I've done is I've gone through each of the files just to check, for instance, object loader, just to check everything's okay. Looks alright, no problems with it. Object, there we go. Object loader here. La 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 la, dum dum. There we go. Yeah, looks alright. Everything looks as it should do. No markings in the right hand side. All looks good. Object loader. Where was I? There's object loader. Object loader CPP. Hold on a minute. Something's just happened. Just reduce you a second. What's all this then? Hold on a minute. What's going on? 45 issues. Hold on a minute. What's all this? All of this lot. Yeah. Why? What? Object loader.cpp. Object loader. No, there's no problem with it. That's right, there is no problem with it. But yes, there is. And Qt is actually quite right in pointing this out, that we've been using scanf. It's perfectly okay to use scanf, but it's outdated. You may want to consider using scanf_s. Your choice, really. Or you can disable by using... I'll show you how to disable it first. To disable that, all I need to do is go to the profile, the dot profile, and add that line there. There you go. Defines plus equals underscore CRT underscore secure, no warnings. There we go. Now if I go back to model, OBJ model, oh, didn't save it out. There you go. Save you out. What happens? Ding! All gone. But we still have some yellow dots down here. Hold on a minute. We've got an implicit conversion going on here which hasn't been pointed out to us. And this is a problem. This is a mistake. This is actually the only mistake I made. All the rest I knew about. This is an actual mistake that I found. So current material has this. Signedness. Unsigned int to int. Now, I hadn't realised that I'd introduced it. That current material should have actually been an unsigned int. Does it matter? Oh, hell yes. I just added it on the fly, going through. Where did I put it in? There we go. Blah, 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 blah. It's somewhere around here, isn't it? There we go. Current material. Int. Well, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be an unsigned int. So, on the fly, I haven't thought about it. I've just thrown it in as an int, and Qt has found out. Spotted it. So that is actually an unsigned int. That is a problem. Oh, what happened? Oh God, what's just happened? Yes. Save that out. That is a correction. Please make it. That line. 109 for me. Object loader.cpp. That was a mistake. It should have been an unsigned int. And down here, it's now got the implicit conversions unsigned int to int. And it's correct. It is an unsigned int, and we're putting it into on a pushback into an int. But this time we mean it. I'm just wondering whether I can make current material in faces an unsigned int. Hold on a minute, can I? No, because I want to show you the other way of doing it. I might want a -1 in there as an error code. Thinking about it, I might want an error code. So if any values are placed in at this point, I know they are an unsigned int. I know that that information coming out of that file is unsigned. That material has to be positive. Because later down in the program, I actually tell the program what the current material number is, or whatever the current material value is. So this is actually, I just put a gap in there. The correct way of putting this into this line, or what I should have done, is this. Yes, a static cast. Naughty me. I should have been explicit. What that tells the compiler is that I know that it's an unsigned int, and I know that we are going to be placing it into an int, but I want it to happen. And I want it to only happen in this case. Problem is, there's a few of these cases. Bad job there by me, really. You can go back to faces.push and make that into an unsigned int. You can. But I don't want to do this because I might use an error code. I haven't decided how this is going to finalize. So I'm instead going to put statics in. It's a bad way of programming. You should really go backwards and research the source rather than just doing this. I know what the source is. I wrote it, so I'm not too bothered. There we go. Let's just get rid of all these. I would advise you to do this for now, but you could go back and change it. It's your choice. It's your program at the end of the day. You can do what you like. There we go. Keep pasting. Yeah, there we go. Now you might be thinking, but does that make Qt better than Microsoft? I don't know. Do you want to know about this kind of thing? Does it matter at the end of the day? Well, to me, yes. I'll tell you why. Now, I'll go back here and I'll show you something. What's that one? That's this silly thing, isn't it? There is actually another error here somewhere. Yeah, we know about that one. What's this one? We know about that one. There should be another error. Which one is it? Oh, it's not showing it in here. I've already corrected it, I bet. The error is in one of the header files. So let's go and find it. There we go. I have an implicit conversion here as well. And I did know about this one when I wrote it, but I thought I'd leave it in so I could show you this. So yeah, again, here it's an unsigned int. And that is correct. There we go. The ID can't be -1. And I know it can't. Because that is coming from... Oops. There we go. So that is the actual correct. I put those two corrections in, please. Those are correct. So those are the actual corrections. The two that I meant to happen, and two that I knew about. So, where is this problem going to affect people? It's going to affect people with OpenGL. Now, Microsoft is quite... Yes to all, I don't care. Microsoft is quite correct. There isn't a problem here. Focuses most critical problems, native code, including potential security holes and application crashes. You should include this rule set in any custom rule set you create for your native project. So what they are saying is they will give you a base type of rules it's up to you to add to that base. And if you click on there you go, choose multiple rule sets at the bottom. There's a load of different rule sets, styles and type rules. So it is there. Can't blame Microsoft, it's just that they don't advertise it that well. You'd have to read the manual. It's in the size of the manual. But that all aside, Visual Studio does have the ability to do this for you. It also has the ability to turn all warnings into errors, and so does Qt. You're probably going to find the same in code blocks, you're probably going to find the same in Eclipse, that they will all react differently. I check with as many as I can. As you can see, I use Qt in Visual Studio for Windows, because these two are possibly the best. Because Qt runs both on Windows and Linux, I can check it in Windows and I can check it in Linux, and I know I can build it in both. So if I can build it in both this on Linux and this on Windows, I know it runs on everything, and I can continue quite happily programming under Qt within Windows if I need to. Licenses, yeah, I can't afford to use these because as soon as I build using these and I want to distribute, I can't. I can't distribute from here. It's licenses. As it stands now, this is free. This is under free software license. So if I was to use whatever I've got here, I compile it and use the output for distribution, I could get away with it under the free distribution license, but even that's a bit tight. It's not free at all. It's only free up to a point. Same with Microsoft. So these are the things you've got to consider. Now, the problem. The problem is here. Code analysis, yeah, that's okay. General, okay. Debugging, yeah. DCC, yeah. Okay. I've lost where it says it now. No. Librarian, no. Different options, treat as warnings, there you go. Treat warnings as errors, you can do that there. Directories, don't think there's anything there. No. Oh, God knows. General. No, there is just go back to debug a second. No, I can't remember where I've placed it. Might be, yeah. Code generation. There we go. Floating point model. Now here is an interesting thing. Look at that. Precise, strict, and fast. Now why has it got that? The reason is floating point is irregular in programming. Things like 0.7 cannot be stored in binary. That's a hard thing to understand, but it's true. It's one of the problems that we're going to have. Now, if you are programming an OpenGL application, a 3D application, you have to be aware of this. The reason is you're going to find bugs in your programming. You're going to be able to find, you might slip through a wall, or if you place the character at exactly the position 0, 0, 0 in your world, they fall through the floor and you can't stop it from happening. Something like that is going to happen to you. It's quite weird, but it's because of floating point and the floating point model of the compiler that you're using. Different compilers have different floating point models. Nothing can be done. All you can do is make sure that your variables are correct and that you are not adding to that problem. So it's something that I'll be referencing more in stage 4 when we do OpenGL, I think it is. And yeah, I will be looking at those kind of things. And if I can make it happen, I'll try and accidentally program it in so it does happen. I'm going to try for that, just to show you how floating point can catch you out. There are ways around it. Banking knows about it, obviously. If you're using money, banking uses different floating point calculations. Basically, they multiply everything out and then divide it back afterwards. It's as simple as that. We can't afford to do that because we will be dealing with millions of floating point numbers at a time. It's going to be heavy duty floating point calculation time. Luckily, we can rely on our GPUs to cover most of this because they are aware of this problem and they will correctly do their calculations as far as they can. But again, that's up to the standard of the manufacturer who provides you with that code. We'll be talking about that again in OpenGL, where actually Glue will be sorting that problem out. Now we're aware of it, now that I've done an errata and I've spent 20 minutes chattering on about how errors are going to occur and showing you the errors that I actually made, you may find more. If you do, correct them. Don't be afraid, just correct them. Go ahead. Should be quite a few. But all I do is I will load up into a program like this and I will just double click on everything and just watch this right hand bar for anything that comes up here. And I'll just go through the list, keep watching for anything coming up like that. I mean, it's not as if you do it every now and again. I mean, these are all finished virtually, so these are, I mean, I would only normally do this to a finished item. Just checking through now. Oh, okay. See how it quickly, there we go, there's 2 here, that's the 2 that we know about. Yeah, it comes up straight away. Yeah, know about the test one, just making sure I actually haven't done any more. No, 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 I'm not doing test.bro. So everything looks okay. Am I going to add that to the profile? Haven't decided, but yes, I think I will be doing. So this line I think we shall add in. Yeah, I think we'll keep that line. I think we'll keep the other ones that I told you to. So change that. Change load object loader. Not the H. Well, you could change the H, I suppose. You could go down to the material and change it over. It's up to you. It's up to yourself. But object loader, I want to put the casting in to show you how casting works and why static cast is included in programs. The reasoning for it. So that is a definite change that we need to do on the current material. I think that's it. Can't think of anything else really that's errorful, if you know what I mean, because it's you can now see that whatever development environment you use is not going to tell you all the errors. What you've got to do is you've got to use your experience, you've got to understand how computers work, how chips fundamentally work. I'd even say take a course in binary and hexadecimal, understand both of them. Octal, maybe, if you want to do octal, base 8. I know I did, God knows why. I think it had something to do though with electronics rather than computing. It's if you can, the more you understand, the harder it gets, funnily enough. because you'll see me sometimes hesitate on a piece of code, and you'll think, why it's so simple, just put int. And I've just typed in int and stopped. It's because of this. Do I want it to be an int? Do I want it to be a float? Do I want it to be a double float? Do I want it to be an int, unsigned int, etc, etc, etc. An interesting thing is there are things like this, uint16 and all, these are unsigned ints. So if I was to put in, no, I can't do it. I'll show this better when we do OpenGL, because I'll be using GLUint, and I'll show you there what happens and all the kind of problems that can occur from it. So that was my talk on errors, and the only errors I really wanted to talk about was that one there. That word there in C is the most powerful and error-prone and badly used thing in the language. Shame, but true. And there you go. Thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. I hope this helps in any future programming that you may do. I hope that a lot of people watch this and go back thinking and looking into some of the ideas that I've presented here. And hopefully it will help people mature and become more experienced and look at their code in a slightly different way. Good luck, take care, and have fun.